Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore coming at you.
Once again this week. It's been kind of a amazing week for us. The Lord's just had us
Every other day.
Every other day we're on here doing videos, and so it's actually been kind of fun. I love it when the Lord mixes things up and He's like, hey, let's just throw some encouragement out there, and that's really once again what we feel like the Lord has. It's really just kind of some encouragement for you guys, especially during this time when I really feel like there's just a lot of transition going on.
A lot of stuff going on.
I feel like that's kind of the place. We were talking earlier at the beginning of the year, which it's only the 8th or 7th, 8th. Today's the 8th,
Today's the 8th. It's Friday. It's Friday night.
Yes.
The 8th. That's what's so different about this. It's like we got this word and we're like, we have to make a video now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I guess this is going to be prepared to go out on a Saturday or Sunday or whatever. But it's like I just felt like the Lord was like, we got to do this like right now. And I'm like, okay, well, you must have something great planned for tomorrow. Because I mean, I almost feel like this could literally be Act 1, Scene 39. Because what we're going to share is things that God's been speaking to us and planting and kneading and developing and cultivating in our heart like all week.
Yeah.
Like all week. And it's been proven and shown like, wow, the Lord really is speaking this right here.
But don't worry, we will have more. I was already praying and thinking about that, and so there is plenty to share.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because earlier at the beginning of this year, I was telling Devin how I really feel like so much of the time, at least in this journey that we've been on for the last 4 years, this portion of it, we've been journeying with the Lord for a long time. But
this portion meaning like doing the YouTube thing. Neither one of us having jobs. God has us in this particular position.
Yeah.
That's what we mean by say this journey.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
was just that at the beginning of the year, it seems like the Lord uses this time to really transition. He's used it to transition us multiple times over, pretty much every single year. It's like January, February. It's like the Lord's just kind of moving into a different direction and transitioning. And I really feel like that is what's going on right now. There has just been, I think, and will continue to be just this major transition with the Lord. And so I really feel like what the Lord shared with us tonight and has been sharing with us is like,
pretty much all week. This
is my key for this time when I am transitioning, when I am moving, and when I am birthing what I have promised. And so that is really what we're going to talk about tonight. And
well, it's kind of like the title suggests. You know what I mean? The promise will not fail.
Yeah. So
stay in position. You know.
Yeah.
I almost feel like with the title, you have a title, but even with a thumbnail, it says something different than the title, but they're really both the same thing. You know, the promise will not fail, so stay in position. You know what I mean?
And so that's really kind of what the Lord was showing us tonight at our God time. I was during our worship, I was really just trying to. I was like, Lord, I want to hear from you. Like, what do you have to say? And
your heart is so awesome. I love you, like, immensely.
Aww.
No, I'm not editing that
You're
out.
So sweet.
Deal with the mush. The mushiness.
But I just was, like, asking the Lord, and what do you want to speak to us tonight? We come before the Lord twice a day as a whole family, and we have our worship time. But it really is just a time and an opportunity for God to speak to our family, for God to speak to our hearts about whatever He wants to share. And tonight, I was just sitting in worship, and I was just having this picture and being reminded that we're seated in the heavenly places. And I had this picture of me just being next to the Lord. But it was this sense of like, yes, that's exactly where I need you to be, because the Lord is in the process of birthing.
Oh, seated next to Him?
Yeah, seated next to Him, being close to Him. And there was just this sense of being laser focused on the Lord, like not allowing any distractions to come in. And I was reminded of just when you give birth, when a mother is in labor.
Now, let me interrupt. Welcome to the channel, Divinely Inspired. She has no idea during this God time what God is ministering to me. No idea. Just bookmark that.
And so I was just reminded of, when you are in labor or when a woman is in labor, those that are around her, their focus is on her. Do you need anything? Can we help you through this process? Because there is a labor, there is a work, there is pain involved. And I really felt like it's like the Lord is like, this is a key moment right now where He is birthing, where He is laboring. And he needs people who are just focused on Him, attentive to what He needs.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, Lord, like, I am here for you. Our family, I'm speaking like on behalf of our family, like, we are all here for you. And I was just reminded that God has key positions in the Spirit for every single person in the body of Christ. So God has us all in just positions that He's like, I have you doing certain things. Yeah, whether it's like praying. I really feel like that is a huge position that God is just like,
huge.
I have my people in where I just want you praying and declaring what I'm speaking from heaven. He has all of us in different places and positions, and God's like, I want you to remain there and just stay focused on me. I think that there's so many distractions that we can get caught up in, and God's like, no, I just need you to come to me, hear what I am saying, what I am doing, and then go forth with my word. And so that was really just what hit me during worship. And so as I was sharing, then Devin was sharing what he was receiving from the Lord. And it was just like, wow, these two just go right. I mean, they're basically, the Lord is saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And you want to just go ahead and share?
Yeah. Well, the thing of it is, the Lord's been speaking these things to us all week. Like literally every day. There's some sort of something that kind of keeps pushing our hearts toward this direction of staying focused. I mean, I was doing laundry, and the Lord was like, stay. He said, stay the course, or something like that. I forget what He said. I think that's what He said.
Yeah,
stay the course. Because I was just like, because sometimes, you get, it's not so much you get hit with something, it's just things kind of start to get loose. And you go like, well, Lord, are we going a different, what's going on? Or what? Maybe we should do things different. I mean, I don't know why that happens, but it just happens. And the Lord's like, stay the course. Keep going, especially when the time frame gets brought up. And it's like, well, man, we've been here a long time, How long does labor and delivery happen? And it's like, oh, I guess we are asleep to that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, whatever. It's just like stuff like that starts to get you to maybe drift. You know what I mean? And the Lord's like, no, stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay in position. And so that kind of stuff's been being said to us in different ways. And so one of the things that the Lord was speaking to me about just this morning, Friday morning, January the 8th, 2021, is like, the Lord was like, listen, Devin, this is how it works. When I am birthing something from the Spirit into the natural, you will see all kinds of chaotic manifestations in the natural. You will see just stuff happening.
Yeah.
Just like in natural childbirth.
It's messy.
It's messy. There's other things coming out that you're looking at going, that's not right. That's not a baby. That's not the birth of a nation. That's not the birth of a promise. That's not, you know what I mean? Just all kinds of different craziness going on. And it's like, you'll see it, but it's like, you don't want to be distracted by that. You got to be focused on the fact that, no, this is what God is birthing. This is what He's doing. And I felt like the Lord was like saying, like with the stuff that went on at the Capitol building and the media and how everyone's just kind of going nuts and there's all these things that are happening, and even worse things are going to be happening. But it's like, you can't focus on any of that or try to speak to any of that. You can't. You got to go to the Lord and just be like, Lord, what are you saying? And so the Lord was like, that's what it looks like. People will look in the natural and say, oh, like, oh man, I guess I don't know what happened, but the Lord said that Lazarus would not end in death, but he died. And it's like, no, your earthly death is not the end of the story. My end is that he's just going to die much later on, a natural way. You know what I mean? But we can go into that story. But that and so many other examples, God's just been, feeding us with and nurturing us with and just growing us up in this week to just show us like this is what I'm doing. You've got to listen to the Spirit. Don't look at what you see. Listen to me. Jesus said we live by the word of God. By every word that comes from the mouth of God, not every word that comes from the man of God. Like even the man of God, maybe you've got to have a relationship with the Lord yourself, not relationship with God through someone else. That's one of the dangers of having prophetic hero worship, or you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this prophet and this person and that person, they're my hero. If they say it, it's definitely the Lord. Well, you got to have a relationship with the Lord yourself. Abraham had relationship with the Lord. Lot was related to Abraham, who had a relationship with the Lord. You want to be Abraham, not Lot, because you know what kind of decisions he made. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you want to have a relationship with the Lord. And as we all have a relationship with the Lord, the Ephesians says we're all given a certain task and a certain thing to do. And as we are listening and doing that task, the body of Christ is built up in love. In love. And so the distractions that we try to constantly nitpick about actually tear us apart and tear us down in envy and strife and bitterness and woundedness and stuff like that starts happening and whatever. But that was what was going on this morning. And then tonight it was just more of the same coming out. And I'm just like, man, Lord, what's going on? And so during worship time for me, the Lord gave me this vision, and it was a weird vision. I told my kids tonight, I was like, guys, you know why the Lord gives weird off the wall visions? I think for the simple fact that you will remember it. You know what I mean? He will give you some crazy thing. I was like, if the Lord gave you this vision of you driving a normal car, and you, in this vision, you turned on the radio and there was a prophetic word coming out, that's normal. You may not remember it. But then I was like, but what if you were like driving your car and then suddenly it turned into the Batmobile, and then the Batmobile sprouted actual bat wings and it started flying, and then out of the exhaust it just starts dropping all these eggs. And they were freaking out.
They were laughing.
They were laughing like crazy. And I was like, you see what kind of reaction you're giving to that? It's causing you to engage. It's causing you to remember. It's causing you to look at it and pay attention to it and focus on what is being said there. Yeah. The other one, you might be like, oh yeah, there was a prophetic word or something. Wait, what did it say? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly how they were when I was describing the first vision. They were like, oh, okay, yeah, But when I start describing the second one, they're like, what? Ha 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 ha. They were cracking up. And so in this vision that I got, I was on this telephone pole, this old school wooden telephone pole, and it was so high up that realistically I should have been in space. I'm on this telephone pole that reaches to outer space, and I'm standing on it. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of falling off, nothing. I'm just standing on it, right? And beneath me, there was...
Like you're standing on top of it?
You're standing on top. I'm standing on top of
on top of it.
Yeah, on top of like a man on a trophy. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And so I'm on top of it. And so I'm like literally in space, I think. But it's like I can see what's going on the earth. And what's going on the earth is almost indiscernible to me personally, because there's so much smoke and flame and flashes of fire and debris, and you can't have a clear picture of what's going on, but whoa, there's some major devastation and craziness going on down there. And not only that, but I was watching as other people in the body of Christ who are also on certain poles, they were in certain positions, but they were they were kind of like tottering from their position. You know, it's like, you know, you have a political position. You know, someone goes from one political position to another position. They're shifting their position. They're changing their position on an issue or whatever, right? And the Lord was like, and some of these people, I really, really felt for them. I was like, man, I want to go help them. I want to go minister to them. I encourage them, like, hey, stay in your position. Don't be discouraged. Don't be all this Isaiah 35 and all that stuff. And the Lord was like, don't do it. You must move by my Spirit. Don't step off that position. Don't do it, because you're going to step off. Hey, brother, let me help you. You're going to fall. You're going to fall off. It's like, stay there. You know, not that I'm saying that if you did that and you fall off, the Lord won't grab you and put you back on. You'd be like, you want to stay there now? It's like, yes, Lord, I do. You know, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to obey you completely. You know, I don't need to go and minister to my brother and sister at the cost of forsaking my ministry to you. And how do I minister to you? Well, I stay in this position that you have me in, and I trust that you love them more than I do, so you're going to take care of them. And the Lord's like, you know, all week the Lord's been like telling me, like particularly with the political stuff, because I know we've been doing a couple seemingly political focused videos lately, and the Lord's like, that's fine, because that's what I wanted you to share, but don't get wrapped up in it. So many times I'm on YouTube, and what's wrong with Trump and Biden and this thing and that thing and the DC, and the Lord's like, don't listen to it. No. But I'm like, but Lord, I got to listen to it in order to make sure I'm accurate and all that. He's like, no, you don't. You just got to listen to me. Hello, you going to go listen to the news? You want to go listen to the news, if I can talk, or do you want to listen to someone who knows everything? You know what I'm saying? Is we prophesy in part and we know in part in relationship with him who knows everything. How will we prophesy when in relationship with those who know very little, next to nothing? What's half of nothing? So even like with our last video that we made, there's a part of me was like, man, with all this DC stuff going on, and you know, I know we just made that video, even though I got the dream on December 19th. I'm just like, I wonder how the video's doing. I'll be honest, I just wonder is it getting like a ton of views or no views. I literally haven't checked it. As of the filming of this video, I haven't checked it, because the Lord was like, don't even worry about that. You know, who cares how many views you get? What's important is, like, are you doing what I'm doing? So it kind of adds to the whole laser focus. Stay in your, and it's like the Lord's like, I've got people who are ministering to the fallen. I've got people who are in Capitol Hill. I've got people who are giving prophetic words like Ryan Lestrange and Lana Vosser give it. I've got people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I need you to do what you're supposed to be doing, because when you start to go over this direction and start to focus on those things, you know, just because I'm having you speak on it doesn't mean I want you to focus on it. You know what I mean? And you start to focus on it, now you're changing lanes. You're shifting over. And he's like, no, don't do that. Stay in the position I have you guys in. You guys are storytellers. Get on and tell a story.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and if you think about it too, you know, if you're standing on a telephone pole, those things are not like super wide.
They're not.
You know, telephone poles are
They're
pretty
not, man.
thin overall, and it's just like you have to
you can fit both your feet on it, but that's
about it. Yeah, so you got to stay right where you are. Stay with that, you know, like that. What is it? That plumb line, like revelation kind of thing.
Well, that's what you were telling. I didn't even really realize this until she said something. She was like, "Oh, you're on a telephone pole. Well, what does that represent? That represents communication." And I'm like, "Wow!" And I was literally in outer space. I don't know if I was in outer space, but I was so high above the earth that it's like it represented the Spirit. You're in a position God has put you in a position, because I'm a terrified of heights. Ain't no way I climbed up there myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and the Lord put us in a position to be to hear from heaven. Yeah. To have a communication from heaven and then speak it to the earth. You know, that's what we, you know.
And that's what the Lord was showing me at the beginning of this year, really. And that's where this is, like, God's been sowing this into us. It just, again, he was speaking to, you know, get above the earth. True. Come to where it's like what is God speaking in heaven? And, this
my
whole
mind
year,
is being blown right here in front of you. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
And so the Lord's like, you're going to see, because at the time I was like, trying to figure things out. Like, well, Lord, maybe you're going to do this. What if you're going to do that? And it was all just like how, the when, the why, the where, the how, all that. And God's like, okay, don't spend your time focusing on that. Just come to heaven, rise above, and hear what I'm speaking. And this year, we made a video about this. I forget when, probably back in like October. I think it was the end of October, about what God was speaking over 2020, and it was like talking about the year of like for the birds and the fish. And
over 2021.
2021. Sorry,
okay. We did
made
it in
the video,
2020.
But it was about 2021,
okay.
And about the birds and the fish, and how I was really feeling like God is talking about the birds representing His people and setting them free to fly, and that means like you have to get into the air, in the heavens. That's what the Lord, at the beginning of creation, He was talking about. He made, He separated the waters, and it was called the heavens. That was the sky, and then you had the waters beneath. And I really felt like, the heavens, that's representing the heavens of just like hearing from God, soaring with Him above the earth, being above the chaos, above the noise, so that we can hear from His heart and just move with Him.
Above the social pressures and expectations and all that.
And so, and it's from that position that God is going to have people impacting the earth.
Yeah.
And, I've just been seeing like images, visions of just like, birds like eagles that are representing God's people, they're just moving with the Spirit of God, and He's going to give them visions for what's ahead. He's going to be giving them the wisdom and insight on this is what needs to happen before things start to happen. And they need to be in that position to hear, and also that they're going to be in a position where they're going to be able to go down and snatch people out, of just what the enemy is doing, what's going on, the chaos and all of that. But also that there is the harvesting of people, where God's like, I'm going to have these birds in the air, and they're going to be able to save people, like eagles. They go and they catch fish, right? And I believe the fish represent those that are unsaved. And the Lord has
snakes.
Yes, they eat snakes. But it's just that God has already spoken, like there's going to be a great harvest. There's going to be just people that are going to be coming to Him. And so we need to be those that are believers, those that, you are standing firm on the promises and the words of the Lord. Stay where you're supposed to be, but rise above the chaos and the noise and, all of that that's going on around you, and not get caught up in it, but come up to the Lord and just be leaning on Him, listening to Him, being just so focused on like, God, what are you speaking for me today? What are you speaking for prayer? What are you, just coming to His heart, getting instructions. It very well might be He's just like, stay right where you are.
Yeah.
You're not moving at this time. And it's so important to just be in that place, because God really is in labor. And I was I'll let you go in a second, but
oh no, I'm good. I'm just agreeing with you.
But I was just reminded of Isaiah 66 verse 9, where God speaks and He says, I don't bring to the moment of birth and not bring forth. And God's like, this is the moment of birth, and I am bringing forth. I'm going to bring forth my promises. I'm going to bring forth my word that I have spoken, because and it's like, He's like, I have not spoken in the darkness. He's like, I've spoken so clearly to my people. This is what I'm doing. I have decreed and declared it. And I just believe God's like, it is happening. This promise is going to be born. What I've spoken is going to come out. And sure, it might be messy and it might not look the way that we thought it would look or anything like that. But God's like, my word stands firm, and it is fast, and it is
will
sure.
not fail.
And and it's not going to fail.
Yeah.
And so be ready. Be in those places that I have put you. Be in prayer. Be continually just, Lord, what can I do for you? And that's really just what I was feeling in my heart, was just this sense of like, Lord, what can I do for you in this moment? Because this is a moment of birthing. You don't, like, if you're a mother and you're in the middle of childbirth, you don't want people coming up and be like, hey, Mom, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? I need help with this. It's like, no, you yourself are focused on what you're doing. And I just believe that the Lord is like, he is focused on performing his word in the lives of his people, because there is not only I believe a birthing of the United States of America, the nation, but there is a birthing of all of the promises that God has spoken to his people around the globe and on this earth. And he's like, I am birthing my word, and it is going to be coming forth, and it will be changing lives. But in the process, it's like things can be looking hairy and messy, and it's like, Lord, I don't know about this. It can be looking
extremely opposite.
Yeah. And it's like, Lord, I don't know about this. Yeah. But he's like, just keep going with me. It doesn't matter if it looks like if your friend Lazarus is dead. I am telling you the truth. I'm going to wake him up, and I'm going to bring resurrection life to those places that look dead.
I said the end was not death. Just because he died, that don't mean it's the end.
Yeah.
So much that goes into that for our personal lives, for our families, our cities, our nation, our world.
So that really is just what we wanted to come on and just share with you guys. It was definitely just hit our hearts tonight. It has been with us for well over a week of just like God saying, like, come up, be above the chaos, above the noise, turn your hearts to me, focus on me, and know that I am going to perform the words that I've spoken, and you will not be disappointed. And because the promise will not fail, that he has spoken.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, man, we could talk for hours on that.
Yeah.
And share, like, from Genesis to Revelation. There's things that Isaiah prophesied about Jesus that he still hasn't done yet. There's things that have been prophesied in Ezekiel that have still not been done yet. You know what I mean? And so you can't put a time frame on things and then say, oh, well, you know what I mean? It's just like, if it's the word of the Lord and he's spoken it, and that's what he's going to do, And Jesus says we live by the word. Don't believe anything. I'm communicating even with the Lord while she's sharing, and I'm like, wow, this is difficult to be present in the video, but then I'm really just kind of trying to listen to the Lord at the same time. And I'm just like, there's things going on with me even on this video, and I'm just going, Lord, well, what about this and what about that? And the Lord was like, he said to me, he was like, don't believe anything but my word.
Yep.
He's like, don't believe anything but my word. And that's Matthew 4:4, We live by the word of God. Everything, even our earthly sustenance, is not as important. Because earthly sustenance, our food, without that, we die. God's like, I don't care. I made you. I can just snap my fingers and boom, you come to life. It's like, death doesn't have any power over me, And so the Lord's like, believe my word. And it's like, we live by the Spirit. How else is the Lord, how biblically speaking, Jesus himself and all the New Testament scriptures, what are they saying to us? Live by the Spirit in the same way Jesus lived by the Spirit. And don't be dictated to by the things of the earth of how things are going to be. If God says this is how it's going to be, then that's how it's going to be. I don't care if my wife's womb is dead, I'm dead, my brother's dead, my house is dead, my dog is dead, and my life's a country song from the 80s. Okay? I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like God will do what he said he's going to do. You know, and his word will not fail you personally. I really feel like the Lord is saying that. There's a person, yes, there's a lot of national stuff going on, and there's stuff going on in your world, but it's like you personally, there's going to be a fulfillment of the promise if you stay in position. You know?
Yeah, well, that's really all that I had, and that really we had to share. We just pray that you guys are encouraged to continue to believe, continue to just be listening to the heart of God, especially at this time, just in life, and just like God is He is focused on fulfilling His word in the lives of His people. And so just be continually pressing into Him and hearing what He has to say for you in this moment in time.
Yeah.
So until next time, guys, we will see you
Love
later.
you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.